We may be heading towards the most important and potentially most damaging shift in console gaming history, not because of graphics, not because of exclusives, but because of price. Over the past week, Sony raised the cost of its PlayStation hardware yet again, pushing systems higher by another $100 to $150. At the same time, Microsoft has made similar moves on the Xbox side. What that leaves us with right now is a market where something like a PlayStation 5 Pro is approaching a staggering $900 price point. And that's not a rumor or a prediction. That's happening right now. The question isn't whether prices are rising. The question is how far this goes and what happens when it does. Because when you follow this trend forward, things get uncomfortable very quickly. All signs point to the PlayStation 6 launching somewhere around 2028. And unless there's a massive global economic shift, it's hard to imagine that system costing anything less than $1,000. That would mark the first time a mainstream gaming console crosses into four-digit territory as a standard expectation. On the Xbox side, the rumored Xbox Project Helix, a hybrid between a console and a PC ecosystem, likely lands in that exact same range, if not higher, especially when you consider that even current upgraded hardware is already pushing $800 without delivering a true generational leap. This isn't just inflation, it's a structural shift in how these devices are priced. And to be fair, there are real reasons behind this. Tariffs, supply chain instability, and rising component costs are hitting every part of the tech industry. The days of selling consoles at a loss and making it back on software are becoming harder to sustain when the hardware itself is so expensive to produce. Companies like Sony and Microsoft are caught in a difficult position where they either raise prices or accept shrinking margins. From a business standpoint, the decision makes sense, but from a consumer standpoint, it creates a serious problem, because there is a limit to what people are willing or even able to pay. That limit is exactly what we're starting to hit right now. Console gaming has never been cheap, but has always been relatively accessible. At the start of this generation, you could get in for $300 to $500. That was manageable for a lot of people. Now we're talking about ending the same generation with consoles nearly double that price and then jumping again into $1,000 territory for the next one. That kind of increase doesn't just hurt, it excludes. Lower income players who have always been a huge part of the gaming audience are the first to feel that impact. For them, a $1,000 console isn't just expensive, it's completely out of reach. And maybe the biggest long-term consequence shows up when you look at younger players. For decades, consoles have been something kids could reasonably ask for during the holidays. A PlayStation or Xbox under the Christmas tree was a common experience. But now, imagine asking a parent to spend $1,000 on a console and then another $70 every time their child wants a new game. That's not a casual purchase anymore. That's a major financial commitment. Realistically, what's more likely is that those same kids end up with a gift card for Fortnite or Roblox, where the barrier to entry is dramatically lower. Over time, that changes habits, expectations, and ultimately where the next generation chooses to spend their time. This is how the balance of power in gaming starts to shift, not through one big collapse, but through gradual erosion. As consoles become more expensive, alternatives become more appealing. Mobile gaming continues to grow because it's accessible. PC gaming becomes more attractive because at a certain price point, the value proposition starts to overlap. And even companies like Nintendo, which have historically thrived by offering more affordable hardware like the Nintendo Switch, may not be immune forever. Rising costs affect everyone, and even if Nintendo is forced to increase prices significantly, then the last major entry point for budget-conscious gamers starts to disappear. Now, it's important to put this in perspective. The idea that console gaming is dying has been thrown around for years, and every time it's been proven wrong. Consoles are still incredibly popular, and there's no indication that they're about to vanish overnight. But this situation feels different because it's not about competition, it's about accessibility. When fewer people can afford to enter the ecosystem, growth slows. When growth slows, priorities shift. And when priorities shift, the role consoles play in the industry starts to change. What makes this even more frustrating is that there isn't a simple solution. Sony and Microsoft aren't raising prices just for the sake of it. They're reacting to real economic pressures. But at the same time, consumers aren't wrong for pushing back. A $600 console already felt like a stretch for many people. A $900 console feels excessive, and a $1,000 console? For a lot of players, that cost is a line from expensive into unreasonable. That tension between rising cost and consumer expectations is what makes this moment so important and so uncertain. So where does that leave us? Potentially at a crossroads for console gaming. If prices continue to rise, the industry may be forced to adapt in ways we haven't seen before, whether that's new pricing models, subscription-focused ecosystems, or even redefining what a console actually is. The PlayStation 6 and Xbox Project Helix won't just represent the next step in hardware. They could define whether console gaming remains accessible to the average player or becomes something far more exclusive. But now I want to hear from you. Would you actually pay $1,000 for a next generation console, or is that where you draw the line? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, if you want to go deeper into where gaming is heading, check out my Patreon, where the latest exclusive dives into whether PCs and Xboxes are starting to become the same platform. Thanks for watching, and as always, game on.